So I got home from work today at a decent time, and I thought, why don't I just sit down and talk at the camera for a little while? This has been quite a week for reading. This isn't going to be a full breakdown of everything I've read because I tend to do that at the end of the month, but I just wanted to talk about some things about a couple of books I've read lately. So I'm getting to the end of Glen Cook's Dread Empire series, and man, that is a weird series. I was reading book 6 and I almost DNF'd the series in it. I got through the first third of the book and I'm like, man, this is so slow. What is happening? And I thought it was me, and I get the other third done, and the whole time I'm listening to that middle third of the book, I just keep thinking, am I going to really finish this series? Like, am I going to do this? I don't even know if I want to anymore. And you know, my major project for the year is reading everything Glen Cook has ever written. So I thought, wow, am I really going to quit a series with 2 1/3 books left and then just move on? But if it sucked, I didn't want to keep going. Part of the way through the book yesterday, I just stopped reading it. And then I moved on to a Thieves World book, Storm Season, which is book 4. It's in the collection of short stories for the fantasy setting of a bunch of authors created by Robert Lynn Asprin and Lynn Abbey and a few other people. It was an inspiration for Wildcards, which is also cool. So I went over to that as like a palate cleanser, and all the stories were mediocre, and then there was like one stinker, so it was just like, okay. It's been the okayest of the series so far, but I still had fun with it. So I did that, and then I went back to Reap the East Wind, Dread Empire book 6, and finished it, and I'm like, man, there's something wrong with me. This book just wasn't right. And I was going to give it like 3.5 stars or whatever. I'm almost over giving star ratings to stuff, but anyways, it was like 3.5 stars. And before I could even gather my thoughts about the book, I just moved right on to book 7. It immediately started out so much better than book 6. I was like, holy crap, this is what I wanted. It was so good. I was just right back into the world. I cannot explain how much better it was than book 6. And I was just like immediately locked in. And the whole time I was doing book 6, I just kept trying to figure out ways to get out of it. And then I start book 7 and I'm immediately like, okay, this is great. I'm back where I wanted to be. I'm so happy. And so I knocked the star off Reap the East Wind. That book is not very good. Fortunately, it's like 212 pages, so it's not like you're stuck there for an incredible amount of time. Like a fast reader could read it in like 3 or 4 hours. Yeah, I was happy that I got that out of the way and I moved on to book 7, but now I have a very big worry. The final book in the Dread Empire series, the story goes that someone stole the manuscript from Glen Cook, and he just said, well, not finishing the series now. So it didn't get finished. This was in the late 80s. He was just too heartbroken and mad about it, so he never finished the series until like 2007 or something like that when he wrote the final one. And I'm worried because at some point after he finished The Black Company, he completely forgot how to write The Black Company. Like Port of Shadows, not a fan of it. And then the short fiction he wrote after he completed The Black Company, not good. Like not good at all. He lost the voice of Croker and he lost the overall tone of Black Company books. And so I am really scared that the final Dread Empire book was just kind of shoved out there after he'd forgotten the voice of the Dread Empire. I'm going to stay optimistic, and I will also say the book is not that long. So even if it's mediocre to bad, I will at least be able to finish the series. But I have high hopes for it. I don't think it'll be that bad. But yeah, this reading everything Glen Cook has ever written has been quite the ride. I'm now over the halfway point. I'm at 27 of about 52 books. It's been fun. The Dread Empire is such a weird series. It takes all of Glen Cook's strengths and all of his weaknesses when it comes to writing and just amplifies them. You have some of his most evocative writing he's ever done. You have characters and their expression of how they feel and just their humanity is just amplified way beyond what you see in like The Black Company and stuff. And you have his ability to write different cultures like he does in The Black Company. It's here and it's amplified. And then also you have a culture that it's just sucks to read. It's incredibly ironic that the weakest culture in the series is the Dread Empire. Yeah, it's just fascinating to read the Dread Empire series after reading the Black Company series. And you see all these different things that Glen Cook is able to do that he couldn't do in the Black Company. I mean, it's a first person, unreliable narrator. And in this, it's third person. And Black Company is military fantasy, and then this is epic fantasy and military fantasy, just like cranked to 11. It's just really, really strange to read after spending so much time with the Black Company. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that it is out there. I mentioned this in a book group I'm in, but it's like Glen Cook just sat down and just hammered out this fantasy and just said, oh, what are the rules for fantasy? No, we're not doing that. Okay. And then just throws you into the books. It's like, oh, here you go, dummy, figure it out, which I don't mind. I don't know if I'm going to recommend the series to anyone. Maybe people that really like Glen Cook and want to explore more of his writing. I plan on doing a tier list at the end of the year when I've read everything Glen Cook has ever written. And I honestly don't know where this would go on a tier list. I think the next Glen Cook book that I'm going to read is going to be another Garrett P.I. novel. I'm also worried there. I started a short story that was written way after he finished the Garrett P.I. series. I think he just stopped writing them. And I didn't like the tone of that. And I'm hoping that that was just a one-time thing. If he forgot how to write Garrett on top of forgetting how to write Croker, I'm going to be a little upset. So I've realized so far that this is just an update on my Glen Cook project. So I think we're going to roll with that. I'm really excited to get into his science fiction. He has some really cool stuff. I'm still saving The Dragon Never Sleeps. I'm trying to wait for the right time to try to get other people to read it with me. Probably in the second half of the year when people have kind of knocked out a lot of the things they planned on reading for the year. He also has Dark War, which is a science fantasy series, so that should be interesting. Looking back on it now that I've started the project, I just feel a little strange about reading everything he's ever written in 1 year. Mostly because that means that after this year, every time I read Glen Cook, it will be a reread. I will have nothing new from him. So that's a bizarre thought. The completionist side of me is battling with the fear of never getting something new side of me. But yeah, I just thought I'd make a quick video and talk about Glen Cook. And I've been up since 2 a.m. and I feel like at this point I'm going to start rambling. So I just want to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.